It's become apparent to me that there's a deep, fundamental misunderstanding of what a critic is meant to be. This realization started off when I watched The Menu last year. There's a character in the movie who's a restaurant critic, and she, while eating her meal at an exclusive, expensive haute cuisine restaurant run by a classically trained chef, remarks on how one of the emulsions served to her has split. This is played for comedy. The critic is punished for pointing out the flaw, even though she only quietly remarked about it to her table mate. What is the point of this? I still don't get it. Surely you'd expect a food critic to notice if you served a broken emulsion. From this incident, I'm left with the understanding that the average person sees criticizing an art form as a despicable act for pedants who wish to tear artists down. This critic, like the one from Ratatouille and presumably all the rest, is a villain. Later on, I was shown a video by someone who goes by the name Mr. GG. The video was shared with me because the sharer thought that we looked the same. I don't see it. The host of this channel reviews horror movies, and I noticed that each movie review is prefaced by this text. I am not a film critic. I just like to pick movies apart for the fans. This is confounding to me. To say essentially, I am not a movie critic. I just critique movies. Experiences are recounted. Thesis statements are presented. This is criticism of a movie. The man is a movie critic. From this lesson, I think that I'm meant to learn that real critics are people whose opinions are more valuable than regular people, whether that value is derived from an encyclopedic knowledge of an art form or from years of studying theory. Maybe if I apply what I assume I'm supposed to have learned from The Menu, this preface is a preemptive defense from commenters who take issue with watching someone talk smack about a movie as if to say, don't worry, I'm not one of those froofy critics with takes and theories. I'm just doing this because you all seem to like it. Speaking of you all seem to like it, the most recent and mind-bending case study is the Mario movie. This movie became another culture war wedge issue when the critic scores came out significantly lower than the audience scores. When I see this screenshot, I think, what rich data. 2 separate aggregate scores that tell a more full story than a single number. From this, I understand that the Mario movie is a film that will be enjoyed by fans, but not by someone who's halfway through rating every Criterion Collection film on Letterboxd. Some of the movies with the greatest difference between critic scores and audience scores are from IPs with dedicated fan bases. How nice of Rotten Tomatoes to offer a 40 and a 90 for Star Wars The Last Jedi instead of averaging it out to a sole 65. This is a good feature that tells a more complete story, but instead it came to be a major point of contention. And I guess what I'm supposed to take from this example of critic versus normie is that in the end, it's about who's right and who's wrong. This, obviously, I hope, is a foolish way to engage with critics of anything. The point is not to be right because there is no objective correct answer. It's not a math test. But I know that this is a major misunderstanding in the world of subjective engagement and critique because at least 50 out of 100 people who watch a sommelier break down the leather notes in a Pinot will retort, "Sure, buddy, I bet it tastes like wine. Quit the waxing and pour me some $2 Chuck." Some people are engaging with the Mario movie's score disparity in bad faith. The critic score is low because the Mario movie is not woke, and the audience score is high because we do not want woke movies. I'm not prepared or willing to break down that sort of conclusion, but there is a more earnest interpretation happening too. Nintendo fans who aren't political grifters might see the languishing critic score and think, sure, it's no cinematic masterpiece, but it's fun, and it's mostly for kids anyway, so what were you expecting? I like to think the self-aware cinephiles might see the scores and think, wow, there must be a whole lot of Easter eggs and references that I won't enjoy at all. This 40% gulf must represent a 40% increase in joy on which I, as a Nintendo reference non-getter, won't be able to capitalize. I'm not going to act like I've figured out a foolproof way to suss out good critics. I'm still so petty that I will dismiss somebody's whole body of work if they use the word mediums instead of media. But you know, in your heart of hearts, that not everyone is actually qualified to be a culturally significant critic, especially because of how frequently unoriginal critiques are levied against the pros. You can always anticipate which reductive comments they're likely to get. 1. You are nitpicking and biased. Yes, that's the whole point of critique, to apply personal opinions to minute details. 2, your opinion isn't even valuable. Who cares? Yes, anyone is free to post their opinions online. The paychecks and attention start to come in not when you're the most correct or the most objective, but when you produce work about which numerous people do care to hear. 3, you are a snob and you just hate popular stuff. Yes, if you buy 3 video games per year, you aren't as discerning as someone whose job it is to play and review every single video game that comes their way, because that kind of person is way more likely to be bored to death by tropes and commonalities that tend to make media become popular. 4, you complain about flaws so much because you are a hater. No, indifference is what leads to a lack of critique. I don't do food reviews for new items at drive-thru restaurants because I do not care about them. But I do care about instructional design. So when I see a really smart individual on YouTube messing up in ways that hurt the viewer, I go nuts. Critique often comes from a place of immense love for the medium, not hate. 5, just let people enjoy things. Hell no. This is my least favorite response to criticism of all time. If someone's enjoyment of a product or work of art is contingent on other people liking it too, they've got problems. In the end, I know that my rant isn't going to change the way audiences interact with critics, so if I may make one plea, it would be to beg critics to stop using scores. I know audiences love a number, but they can't usually wrap their minds around the meaning of a score, so they're more likely to treat them like rankings than complaining in ways like, bro, ain't no way this album is a 96 when this way better one got a 92. Nobody can really agree on what a score means anyway. Is a 5 out of 10 average because it's right in the middle, or is a 7 out of 10 average because 70% is the passing score on which we were raised? This is how you end up doing tech reviews that are just spec readouts, or art reviews that grade a painting on how many different colors of paint were used. Numbers are great shorthand for conclusively telling someone what to expect from a work or a product, but if you must use them, try to keep it to 5 or less. You hardly ever need to rate anything on a 10-point scale, and you never need to rate anything on a 100-point scale. Push yourself to try something binary. Recommend or don't recommend. Tomato or splat. Video so good you click like, or video so good you click like, subscribe, notify, and just subscribe to the Patreon. Simple stuff. You can do it.